Hello everyone, I'm Mark Birdie, the teenager entrepreneur, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can rise above criticism. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume this is not corrective criticism where you can receive great advice from other people who are helping you achieve a certain goal. I'm going to assume this is criticism and the nasty type of criticism. So you may want to know, how do I rise above this criticism? I get criticized by people. I want to know, how exactly do I just ignore it and then pursue my own life? Well, the first thing you need to do when rising above criticism is you need to realize that the most successful people get criticized. You aren't the only person who is receiving criticism. I find it very inspirational to look at examples of some of the most successful people who have been criticized. I mean, there are sports athletes who were basically told that they can't play the sport. I mean, Dustin Pedroia, he had critics. People said he was too small, too slow, and too weak, and now he's a baseball player for the Boston Red Sox. So that's just one of the many examples of people who have risen above the criticism and have been able to really dominate and do what they love to do. So look at those stories and see how people are able to rise above the criticism, and then pick one person who you really admire and has fought through a lot of criticism and then use that person as a role model. I believe having a role model for success is a great way to just ignore criticism and then rise above it. The next thing you need to do is ask yourself, why is this criticism bothering me? I feel like many people are ignoring the big questions that can allow them to achieve life's greatest goals. I mean, asking yourself why something is happening is the first step to finding the solution. If you know why you feel bogged down about criticism, if you know why you feel, I hate this criticism, then you will know how to approach the problem. Let's say you don't like receiving criticism because you stand behind your ideas and you put in a lot of hours to, let's say, creating a product or writing a blog post, and the last thing you want to see is that idea getting shot down. Again, if this is corrective criticism, take it. The best thing about corrective criticism is that it helps you become better. But occasionally there are critics who aren't offering as much corrective criticism, and they're doing more insulting than advising. When you get those types of critics, you have to ask yourself, are these people who are really giving me legitimate advice that I could use, or are these people who are just there to say bad things? I mean, the people who say bad things about other people, those are the people who watch the other people become successful. The critics are the ones who watch the champions become successful. All of the champions that we know, just think of someone who you admired. Think of someone who's very successful. They have all risen above the critics. And even the most successful people continue getting criticized to this day. Now, going back to the question, let's say you don't like getting criticized because you put in long hours to provide the value that you provide in blog posts or products or something along those lines. You may not like it when people say, oh, this is bad, I do not like this at all, or something of that nature. So what you want to do is, instead of surrounding yourself with the negative, surround yourself with the positive. When people criticize our work, it's easy to look at that one comment and ignore all the other comments we have ever received until that day. So just look at all of the people's comments in which people said, I like what you're doing, thank you for providing me with this value. I mean, there are people out there who are grateful for what you provide. And those are people who you need to surround yourself with and think about as you get the criticism. As someone says, I don't like this. Think of the people who appreciate what you do, and they come back to your blog if you have one, or they come back to your YouTube channel, or they are a repeat customer, or they're a friend who constantly stops by, calls you on the phone, and just interacts with you often. So think of the good times and think about all the positive things in that particular area as you read the criticism. So instead of thinking of the person who said, I didn't like this blog post, think about all of those people who said, I like this blog post, I like your products, I like what you have been doing. I'm amazed by your story, and things like that. So you want to just focus on the positive. I mean, that's the better way to live. If you surround yourself with all the negative, then that is going to impact how you develop as a person. You don't want to snap at criticism, because then you're no better than the critic. Critics will leave comments that you may not like, that you may find a strong desire to respond to and say, Mr. or Mrs. Critic, you are wrong. This is my idea. I've been working a lot of time for it, and now this is what I have up. I've spent so many hours writing this blog post, so I don't understand how you can possibly say that. That's not good, because then you are embracing the criticism too much. You are making the criticism a part of your life, and then you think about it. If you write a response to the critic, then you will think about the response. You will think about the criticism. And it is when you surround yourself with the thoughts of past criticisms when criticism really becomes a part of your life. It is when small criticisms stay in our minds so long, all bottled up, and then they become bigger as we think of them more. When we remember them, we just remember the feelings at greater intensity. We remember what it felt like to read that email or see that text or get that Facebook notification with the criticism in it. So just focus on surrounding yourself with the positive. And then when you see the criticism, it will be easier to embrace, because you will realize, I have so many things going for me right now. So many people like what I do. So why is this one critic going to ruin my day or ruin my week or ruin my month or ruin my year? One person should not have the power to do that. I mean, you are in full control of what you do, your emotions, your reactions. So just take the driver's seat and steer your way into where you want to go and how you wish to live your life. So when I receive criticism, and you'll be amazed with the amount of criticism I receive. I mean, you may like my story of being a 17-year-old entrepreneur, but I receive a lot of nasty criticism at times. So when I see this criticism, I look at all of my accomplishments. I think of all the things I've done. I think about running particular times. I think of my social media success. I think about all of the products I've created that have been generating sales. So I think about all of that success, and then my success ultimately drowns out the bad critics who don't really offer any advice, and they're just there to ruin our days, basically. So that's what I do. I think about the success, and then that makes me think less about the criticism. So you may be wondering, what do I do if I don't have all these followers or I don't have all these products? Success means a lot of things, and it means something different for each individual. So success may mean having a good family. Success may mean making a good income. Success may mean doing what you love to do. So look at all the areas in your life where you have been successful, and then use that to drown out the criticism. Because what criticism really does is it attacks our self-value. When we see the critics and they say something bad, we think, wow, that person said that. Am I really doing a good job? Am I really being effective? Am I really doing everything right? I mean, why is this person being a critic and saying these bad things when I'm just putting in a lot of work and putting in the time to provide value and be a good person? So when you think about all of your successes and all of the great achievements of your life, that will answer your question to what is my self-value. You will realize you have a lot of value. And for many people, they don't realize how much value they have. If you haven't watched the movie It's a Wonderful Life, watch it. It's a movie about how one guy is never born, and then he realizes how many lives he impacted, even though it looked like he barely had an impact. And if you have watched it and you're wondering, what's my self-value? Watch it again. I mean, it just shows you how many lives you impact and how many people you save or change for the better just by being you. So you have a lot of self-value, and that's what critics try to take away from you. And by reminding yourself of all of the things that make you realize you have a lot of self-value, the criticism will be insignificant compared to all of your successes, and then you will rise above it stronger than ever before. That is all for this video. I hope it has served you, and what I want you to do is to dream big, achieve greatness, and unlock your potential today.